and I've mentioned it in an earlier interview as well, that I'm kind of, sort of done with emotionally heavy subjects. Are you convinced?
I am convinced for sure. You're a very good actor.
Well, emotional and physical trauma. You
In
still doubt me. There's
retrospect,
so many people that still doubt me. It's all right. It's an ongoing
really?
process.
Really?
So मेरा तो अपना कोई कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है इस चीज में कि मैं वापस आऊंगा और लोग लाइन अप कर जाएंगे और अभी तो ये चीज अभी रिलीज होनी है, सो वो तो बाद में पता लगेगा. अच्छा, I never wanted to be number one. I'll be very honest. And I do not consider myself, and I never did consider myself number one anywhere. And मुझे नहीं लगता कि मेरे अंदर वो जिसको कहते हैं ना वो तप्पड़ है लोगों की क्रिटिसिज्म इस हद तक बर्दाश्त करना, तो मुझे भी अफेक्ट करती है. एंड आई थिंक नाउ मोर सो देन एवर देयर इज अ नीड for more civil discourse and more tolerance. पिछली दफा it was an unfortunate series of events that led to where we are today. But again, I think that only time will tell.
Firstly, a huge welcome to India today, Fawad. This is Bhavna. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Bhavna.
You know, I watched Barzakh trailer and I have watched 2 episodes of it, and I have to tell you, I was really transported and very curious about the world, or because we are not real, it's a mystical world blended with contemporary themes. I guess that is one of the reasons why you perhaps said yes to it, because it is something that you have never dabbled with yourself as an actor. But what makes Barzakh special to you?
I think first of all, it's the team that's made it. I think Shailja, Vikas, and Asim, they're a super team. They're a dream team here to work with, and as always, content I say is king, and the script was the first thing that obviously caught my attention, and then Asim's work. I've seen his earlier work, and I think he's an amazing, very talented director and writer. And I was looking for an opportunity at some point in time in life to work with him, and I got it in the form of Barzakh.
Very seldom do you see shows which are sort of focusing on every aspect of contemporary issues. For example, mental health is one of the most important aspects today, which is thankfully being discussed a lot more. But also, I mean, just as an actor, how much do you lend yourself to these roles? Where do you draw a line that this is okay, this is Shahryar and this is Fawad, and there is a line, there's a blurred line between them, because sometimes you can lose focus or lose yourself in the character. Has it happened to you in this show?
So I think I take it. I think because of the kind of material and the kind of work that I've done, I think I take it a little too seriously, and I let it rub off on me. And I think it's an occupational hazard. And I've mentioned it in an earlier interview as well, that I'm kind of, sort of done with emotionally heavy subjects. That's what I always say, because I do feel that, like the character itself, Shahryar, as a psychiatrist, I feel actors in a way are participating in an active therapy when they're doing such emotionally heavy subjects, because they're kind of breaking it down, right, for the audience, that this is how it will go. Obviously, it's a biased perspective. It's coming from a point of view as opposed to multiple points of view. But still, because when you do a number of projects in your lifetime and you approach different characters with different emotional baggages, you're kind of delving into the process, or you're delving into the character, and you're in a way performing a therapy. So just like psychiatrists who handle multiple patients, actors, when they're handling multiple patients in the form of characters, I think they also experience some kind of trauma while doing it. And I feel that that is a bit of a dangerous line to cross. And I think all actors can testify to this, that they, at some point in time, they've all crossed that line and suffered the consequences. So it's not that bad, but I think that, yes, it does take a toll on you. And that is why I'd rather now just do comedy and something on the lines of action adventure, mindless entertainment.
Yeah. Your last action movie was quite a hit, by the way. So, firstly, congratulations on that. You should definitely do all of that. But,
Right.
you know, again, one of the parallels that I could draw is that you're a father in real life as well. And when you portray a father on screen, which
Mhm.
is such an important part of the script, how important is it for you to have that equation right? Because, again, like I said, it's difficult to not have that emotional uh, attachment
Yeah.
because you also are a father in real life. So
Yeah.
whatever you're saying to the kid, I don't know about you, but when I look at it, I'm just like, is he also imagining saying it to his son? Because that can be bothersome sometimes.
Were you convinced?
I am convinced for sure you're a very good actor.
Yeah, well, I think half my job is done there. I feel that, yeah, as actors, we bring our own personal experiences to the table. And the second thing is that the biggest advantage of shooting on remote locations where there is no other distraction of the world, like you're kind of holed up together in a cabin for
Yeah,
what, 50, 60 days. And you connect at some point, right? And you develop these bonds and relationships. And then you understand and you learn things about one another, the good and the bad, when you share your experiences. And through that, you achieve a sort of a simulated experience, the closest experience to what is from your own personal life. And then you
right.
enact that on screen. So yes, when there are scenes in this series, I think especially in episode 4, that they were so emotionally traumatic, and seeing a family member as a character in that, going through that emotional and physical trauma in that episode, was so intense that I had to ask the team to turn it off. I can't see it. That's how intense it got. So yeah, you kind of sort of touch and go from your own personal experiences, but I think more so because when you work on something together as actors, as directors and producers, you tend to form your own sort of familial bonds, and that's what you see on screen.
Absolutely. Another dialogue from the show which really tugs at my heartstring is people fear the love that they don't understand. And I think that is very, very true. I mean, and it's true for everything that we do. If we don't know what it is like, the fear of the unknown, like the child
Yeah.
says in one of the scenes, it's true. It does happen. Tell me, when you decided to sort of, as an actor, I want to just draw parallels as Fawad here. When you decided to do this acting as a career, which was an unknown territory for you, was there a fear that you had to overcome as well? And especially another scene, just two scenes I'm combining, because when in a scene when the Dadaji says, right, like, psychiatrist ban gaya surgeon, like in the way he's not happy with you being a psychiatrist. I think we all again connect to that sentiment. Our parents are never happy with what we do. I want to understand again, like, how, um, as Fawad, you must have also seen naysayers in and around you, must have doubted you until you made it. Uh, just
You
in
still doubt me.
retrospect,
There's so many people that still doubt me. It's all right. It's an ongoing process.
really, really, oh my God, I don't think so. Because today I feel when Fawad Khan's name is attached to any project, it just becomes credible in its own right. You disagree?
Thank you so much. Nee, when I say that it still happens, obviously you'll always have people there'll be some critic out there. Always. It's just you have to choose your critics. You have to choose the battles that you want to fight. And again, it's more about mm, winning someone's approval. How important and how necessary is it for you? Unfortunately, in our profession, that is, what is needed round the clock all the time. The more approvals you have, the the work or the better work you'll get.
Yeah,
Uh,
true.
and so ये तो एक ongoing process है. When I started out, my biggest fear was this, that am I doing it right?
Hmm.
And I learned it over time. It's not like I jumped into the arena or jumped into the ring and I knew how to act. I learned it over time. I learned from my mistakes, but I tried to be my own critic, the best I could be. Because someone else's opinion does matter, but if you feel it's right, then there's a very high chance, there's a very high probability that a lot of other people will think that it feels right. As a musician as
True.
well, I've made songs. It's like it first has to tug at your own, emotional strings, and then it'll have some kind of an impact on others. If you start out thinking that, I have to do this and this formula, and this is what's going to work, then you're not so emotionally honest with your work then.
True.
So
And
that was a fear in the start, but that fear is still there today to a certain degree. But it's much lesser, I'll be honest. It's like it's almost negligible now.
then what makes Fawad Khan so sure that, I can go on a hiatus for a couple of years, and when I come back and with the projects that I am, people would just line up and you will have an audience there as well, because in today's time and age where social media sort of, it's like out of sight, out of mind in a lot of aspects, you have never really in ways you have just challenged that notion, because you have not been on social media for a longer period, been away from cinemas and like showbiz for a brief period as well. But look at you.
Well, I'm not sure. I can't be sure. I'm not God. I really that it's ये तो बहुत like I do believe in a higher power, and I believe that जो किस्मत में है वो आपको मिलेगा. And so to a certain degree that belief, but there are times when I do worry that yeah, I have spent too much time away. I think now after so many years, I have suddenly started working with a lot more frequency than I was the past 6 years. It's just that I chose to take a break for a while. There would have been a possibility that if I, tried to come back and start work again in Pakistan or internationally, anywhere, that the audience would have forgotten, and wahi jo aapki baat hai, out of sight and out of mind, um, people would not be so pumped about it.
Hmm.
So I'm just very fortunate. I think as always, I feel that somebody up there likes me,
They sure do.
वो जो एक मुहावरा है. And I believe in that if it is destined, it will be. I do believe in now more so than in the past. I do believe in predestination, like things are somewhat destined to be. So मेरा तो अपना कोई कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है इस चीज में कि मैं वापस आऊंगा और लोग लाइन अप कर जाएंगे. और अभी तो ये चीज अभी रिलीज होनी है, सो वो तो बाद में पता लगेगा. बट आई एम स्टिल वेरी ग्रेटफुल एंड थैंकफुल to the audience out there who have been patient and who are still eager to watch my work.
But in one of the interviews earlier, Fawad, you mentioned that you are no longer stimulated by the thought that you want to be number one in any arena. You just want to do what you love and what you believe in. And I think that coming from an actor of your stature, who is already considered as the number one actor in his own country, and even you're one of the most loved actors in India. I just want to know when did that shift happen where you decided that okay, I no longer want to run behind being number one at anything. I just want to be happy with what I'm doing.
But I never wanted to be number one. I'll be very honest. And I do not consider myself, and I never did consider myself number one anywhere. I feel that kind of takes away from the fraternity and from the craft itself. If you start putting ranks on who's the best, who's the most popular, ठीक है, ये जो metrics हैं, ये हमने as people लगाए हैं. But if you want to watch work, like we watch all kinds of work, at least I do. And I may have somewhat more of a favorite and somewhat not so favorite, but I watched all the work. If I start putting ये जो मैं फिर से बात कर रहा हूँ ranks के यार who's the best and who's not, then I'm kind of pitting things against one. You're making art compete with the other, and art is so diverse that every expression is unique. If you
True.
start pitting art against one another, then you're losing the purpose. This is not. I mean, it is a business because we've turned it into a business, but I think that where it started out from, and art needs to remain like that for it to have the kind of diversity that it has worldwide right now. I mean, people watch things from
Absolutely.
all over the world. तो आपका कभी यहाँ पे फेवरेट एक्टर होता है और कभी साउथ साउथ कोरिया में कोई फेवरेट एक्टर होता है। तो ये चीज तो मैंने कभी नहीं सोची। आई वुड लाइक टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ समथिंग दैट इज, you know, when I put it on a shelf and I come back to it, like I pull out a DVD or, you know, play a show off of some OTT after years of mine, and I watch it or my kids watch it, they say, yeah, this was nice, you did some nice work, and that for me is more than enough.
Yeah.
बाकी सारे का सारा बोनस। मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि यू नो अल्लाह इज्जत रख लें, बाकी सबका सब बाकी सब जो है बोनस है आपके लिए। So that's the first, that's the most important thing for me.
You know, like you said, art is something which is so subjective, and art is something which is, I mean, when you put art before anything else, it also means that you are okay. Like, for example, in Barzakh, it is such an unconventional script on paper, at least, but you go ahead because you have this conviction that, okay, I want to be a part of this, and you've done this throughout your career, right? For example, even in India, the role that you did, I know most people, it's a fact, everyone has spoken about it, that you know the role that you did was denied by a lot of actors because they did not want to play a certain kind of character, but you went ahead and you did it, and it was widely accepted. I just want to know, where does that conviction stem from? Because you need to again be very, very uh, just be open to all kinds of reactions and criticism when you take on anything different. Because जैसे बरजाक में कहते हैं ना कि fear of being unloved, fear of being unknown, fear of the unknown, fear of what you don't know, all of this is real, and as actors are not immune to this fear.
That's true, and neither am I. I'm not immune to that fear either. I think I have a very favorite. I don't know if it's a saying or not. It's just these words that somehow or the other kind of make sense to me. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words will forever change me. Your words will forever change me. You know, because I feel that anyone and everyone is impacted by the comments of other people to a certain degree. You have to have a very thick skin to be able to ignore that. And मुझे नहीं लगता कि मेरे अंदर वो जिसको कहते हैं ना वो तप्पड़ है लोगों की क्रिटिसिज्म इस हद तक बर्दाश्त करना, तो मुझे भी अफेक्ट करती है। It's just that I'm not on social media and I sort of stay away from it because then it will distract me from my work. Now, coming to the characters that we play, whether it's Kapoor and Sons, whether it's Khuda Ke Liye, I feel if done with honesty and integrity, the characters that we play are just characters. They're not a representation of our personality. Obviously, people say, yeah, but then it kind of dictates the morality of your choices. But then again, जिस तरह आपने कहा है ना कि subjective होता है सब कुछ, तो मुझे लगता है कि morality भी subjective है पूरी दुनिया में, you know.
True.
And ये मेरा काम नहीं है कि मैं आपको morality preach करूं। मेरा काम है कि मैं आपको एक circumstance दिखा रहा हूँ, एक character का, और मैं आपसे कह रहा हूँ कि आप इसको देखिए और आप जरा समझने की कोशिश करें कि where he is coming from, and that is
True.
it. So that is
True.
why my choices are based on that. Like I said, from Khuda Ke Liye to Kapoor and Sons to Maula Jet to whatever I'm doing right now, the characters that I play, I try to humanize them as much as possible so that they become relatable. Because again, it is a point of view, and I think now more so than ever, there is a need for more civil discourse and more tolerance so that we can achieve some kind of harmony in the world of chaos that we live in. And for that you need to
Absolutely.
present characters of every shape and size and form for people to understand the world that they live in. And that's what I do.
You know, I also want to commend you because you are like they say that you have been someone who has sort of represented Pakistan on international platforms as well, be it the Marvel debut that you did. I know I was so happy to see you in that series because it just meant like a win for Desis in general. Like, it's just nice. But how important is it for you as well to have that kind of a push? And I will just combine my next question as well. And you are very well aware of the love that you have in India. And I remember last year in an interview you said you do miss Bollywood. I want to say we miss you too. So is there any possibility perhaps in near future where we will probably see you come back and sort of do something here?
अच्छा, मैं आपके पहले दूसरे सवाल का जवाब दे देता हूँ। ये तो वक्त ही एक तो बताएगा और हालात बताएंगे। कि क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा. पिछली दफा it was an unfortunate series of events that led to where we are today. But again, I think that only time will tell. And मैंने अभी एक इंटरव्यू में recently भी कहा था कि when the time is right, things happen on their own.
True.
तो maybe और शायद मैं नहीं तो कोई और सही एंड कोई और ज्यादा काबिल एक्टर होगा जो जो और है भी जो I think will cross that bridge and be working there. It would be lovely. I think ये एक in a way this is a collaboration and वो एक process start हो गया है, kick start हो गया है. ठीक है, OTT पे है, but the teams have worked together from across the border to bring this product to the audience. So I think in a way the process has started. अच्छा, अब पहला सवाल आपका क्या था? I'm sorry, मैं भूल गया हूँ.
The representation on international platforms.
Representation on international scale is necessary, but I'm an advocate of first, as opposed to like being a part of international projects is great, but it should lead to actually bringing your own, industry to be one working at an international level and also being able to present their product internationally. So I believe that yes, to be representing on a global scale is important for that. There are many other actors who are more active in representing Pakistan internationally than me, and there are many more other figures who are more active in representing Pakistan internationally. And I think it is good for the morale, and obviously it's also good because in the world that we live in, we will, we eventually survive on international relations, and it is absolutely necessary to be doing such things, because that is sort of an advertisement for any other potential business or any other opportunity for Pakistanis to arise out of that, or for that matter, like what India is doing, or for that matter, anywhere else in the world. So ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, and I believe in it. And if I can contribute to it positively, then I'd be very happy.
Thank you, Fawad. Thank you so much for
Thank
this
you.
chat. I can go on and on, but I think this is all the time I have. Thank you so much for answering all of it with the patience that you have, and I do hope to see you back in India soon.
Thank you, Bhavna. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Thank you.